Hi, it's Kip K from Make Magazine. Join me as we tackle another great weekend project. Let's go retro as we turn the Guinness Book of World Records into a fully functional PDA notebook. We'll be using a classic Palm 3 for this project and a Belkin foldable keyboard. First, let's salvage the bright, heavy stock front page as we'll be needing it later. Now it's time to take the PDA out of its shell and get it down to the bare necessities. Remove the batteries and then remove the screws for the case. You should see a ribbon cable connecting the two circuit boards. Carefully remove the one end. Remove the buttons, and then carefully pry apart the plastic ring that houses the batteries. We'll need that. After removing the screen from its case, you have the PDA in its rawest form. Now onto the keyboard. We're going to do the same thing with it, removing the screws and cover pieces. I located some hidden screws under a piece of stick-on plastic. The keyboard will also have a ribbon cable connecting both halves. You want to leave that intact, taking care not to damage it. This Make Weekend project is powered by Radio Shack. Visit Radio Shack Invention Lab for more projects and exclusive videos, and the chance to win Radio Shack prizes. Okay, let's find a nice spot in our book to install everything. Ah, what better place? The section on gadgets. You should select a place that will be a little bit thicker than the keyboard. Get some large binder clips and use them to hold the pages together. Then line up the keyboard with the edge of the pages and make sure it's centered. With a pencil, mark an outline a little bit bigger than the keyboard. Grab your trusty X-Acto knife and start cutting through the pages. The more care you use, the better job you'll have in the end. This is probably the most time-consuming part of the project. Time to get rid of all those old broken records. You should have a nice clean cutout section all the way down to the back of the book. Now you want to do the same thing with the screen and circuit board of the PDA. Make your outline and then start cutting away at the pages. Your finished compartment should house the screen and circuit board snugly. And one more compartment needs to be made for the serial cable. Follow the same procedure you did for the keyboard and PDA. I used hot glue on the edges of all the compartments to seal the pages, including the front and back stacks. In order to connect to the PDA, we have to remove the wiring at the keyboard. Be sure to make note of the color connections with a diagram, or you'll be in trouble later. The PDA serial data cable needs to be prepped on one end. Remove the casing that covers the end that attaches to the PDA and cut that connector off. Trim back the insulation and identify the wires that are in the connector you just cut off. I ended up with red, green, yellow, black, white, and blue. I actually had a few other wires, but they won't be used, so I cut them off. Lay the keyboard in place, and after pulling back a couple of pages, cut a channel from the keyboard circuit board to the screen circuit board to allow for the connecting wires. Now with some new wires, make your solder connections on the keyboard circuit board. These will run to the PDA. Feed your new wiring and the serial data cable wiring through a hole and up to the PDA. Finally, make your solder connections for the serial data cable and keyboard to the PDA. Remember the bright orange cover sheet? We're going to use it to make a nice bezel to cover the top pages with one hole for the screen. Use some black cloth ribbon to hold the top of the book open, and you've made your very own retro PDA notebook.